Welcome to Missouri 2021 Presents. I'm Beth Pike, joining you from the Center for Missouri Studies in Columbia. Are you getting the travel bug? Well, perhaps you're ready to venture out more, maybe ease into it by exploring some fun and interesting places in Missouri. As more Missourians are being vaccinated against COVID-19, the opportunities to experience a new or familiar place is here. For the next hour, we'll be your travel guide and offer advice on how you can tour the state safely this summer. My colleagues, Michael Sweeney and Morgan Dennehy, are here to tell us more about the Missouri Explorers program launched this year for the Bicentennial. Then we'll hear from Stephen Foutes, Director of Missouri Division of Tourism, who will give us the big picture view of the state and some of his favorite travels. And finally, we have Diane, Hannah, and Janie Dennison on staff with Missouri Main Street Connection in Branson to talk about the Missouri Main Street Bicentennial Passport this year. First, we will hear from each of our panelists and then get to your questions. You can type a comment or a question at any time during the program where you see a button for the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. And as always, stick around at the very end to win some bicentennial items that we're giving away. Our first guests are Michael Sweeney and Morgan Dennehy to tell us more about a program we launched in February called Missouri Explorers. We were thrilled to see this program really take off, and people of all ages have been signing up to earn their badges. Morgan and Michael, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Thank you, Beth. Appreciate you putting this together. Missouri Explorers, I think, is certainly within the heart of what the Bicentennial mission is, to find opportunities for us to promote better understandings of our communities and counties and regions across the state. One that gives us an opportunity to sometimes explore some parts of Missouri we have not given much attention to, and hopefully in a fun and engaging way that I think is perfect as we're coming out of COVID. I'm going to let our designated den mother for Missouri Explorers tell you a little bit more about the program, and then we can talk about any questions about that afterwards. So Morgan, I'm going to hand this over to you.
Great, thanks, Michael. Thanks, Beth. So as Michael said, I am the designated den mother for the Missouri Explorers program, which basically means I'm the one making all the badges and sending them out to everybody. So I'm so grateful for how well this has just taken off since February. Since the beginning of February, we have almost 700 explorers who have signed up. So thank you all, and I hope you're getting out there and enjoying this wonderful state. I'm sure everybody has lots of questions about the Missouri Explorers program, so we'll just kind of jump right into it. The Missouri Explorers program encourages people, as Michael said, to travel across the state and participate in challenges to receive Missouri Explorers Merit Badge buttons. This kind of harkens back to Girl Scout and Boy Scout badges, where everyone had to complete certain things and you got that nifty little patch that your mom or your grandmother or maybe even you sewed onto your on your Boy Scout outfit or your Girl Scout outfit. Guides are provided for each challenge, and once the challenge is completed, explorers will submit photographs to receive their merit badge button. So on each guide, you'll see activities or places to visit, things to do. And under the description, you'll see a place or how to snap a selfie or take a photo that will prove that you have done that particular challenge. So make sure you have your phones with you when you do this, or your cameras. Does anybody actually carry a camera anymore? I don't think I do. I use my phone for everything. So we ask everyone to take the Missouri Explorers Pledge.
I pledge to encounter the geographic and cultural diversity of Missouri with an open and curious mind.
You guys hear that?
I pledge to be responsible for my own learning, to read the markers, ask good questions, and open up new avenues to explore.
I pledge to respect the land and to respect the people I encounter.
I pledge to be responsible for my own safety and the safety of those around me.
And I pledge to have fun and enjoy exploring the great state of Missouri.
So this is just a fun little pledge that, again, kind of harkens back to the Girl Scout or Boy Scout pledge, to promise to make sure that when you go to these places, you are respectful of where you are. We have one that's a cemetery challenge, and some of these cemeteries are actually live cemeteries are working cemeteries where people are actively having funerals and burials. And so we want everyone to respect the land that they walk on and the people that they encounter, and just really immerse yourselves and enjoy the what it means to be a Missouri explorer. We are constantly working to create new and educational fun challenges that span our state. The Missouri Explorers page on our Missouri 2021 website, you can find that under the Engage tab when you go to our website. There are guides available for each challenge, and these guides, as I said, include general information about the challenge, an image of the badge so you can see what button you're trying to get, a list of activities and sites, and how many of these sites or activities you need to visit to complete the challenge. We have tourism-based challenges, so visiting different cities or parts of the state and doing fun things like the Capital City Challenge, which takes you around our state capital. Our Family Fun Challenge in St. Louis takes you to different kid-friendly, family-friendly events like the Magic House and the zoo. And our Forest Park Adventure, also based in St. Louis, takes you around the different Forest Park venues like the Science Center and again, the zoo, the Art Museum, some of the different things left over from the World's Fair. It's a really fun adventure. We have heritage-based challenges. Right now, we currently have a German Heritage Challenge, which takes you around all the different German heritage sites, as well as a Native American Heritage Challenge. And coming soon, we'll have an African American Heritage Challenge as well. We have some arts-based challenges. There's the St. Louis Art Scene Challenge, which takes you around the different arty type things around St. Louis. And the Branson We Believe in Encores Challenge, which takes you around a lot of the theaters and entertainment venues that are based in Branson. Historical challenges like the Get Your Kicks in St. Louis Challenge, which you travel the Route 66 through St. Louis and see all of those historic things. Historic Gems of St. Louis, which is different historic buildings and areas of the city. The Travel the Mother Road Challenge, which is Route 66 all over the state. And a Walk Through Time. This is the Cemeteries Challenge I mentioned. And the Way of the American Genius Challenge, which travels around Highway 36. All of these things are historical sites, and most of these go through different counties. So not only do you need to complete several different challenges, but you need to make sure you do some in some different counties as well, which we hope will get you further away from your home and to really enjoy what Missouri has to offer. And coming soon, we hope to have some nature-based challenges, one that's based around the Missouri lakes, a wine trail challenge, which I'm personally looking very forward to, and the Explore Missouri Before Statehood, which will take you through different state parks. Each challenge is sponsored by an organization or business, and these sponsors have consulted on challenge sites, activities, and the number of completed elements to qualify for a completed challenge badge. You can see some of the different badges we have right now, and each one kind of represents or has a tie to the challenge for which they have been named. And we are always open for new ideas for challenges because we really want to get as many all across the state as we can. And if you have an idea or are interested in sponsoring a challenge, here's what we need. A name for the challenge, obviously. $200 from a sponsor to cover the mailing and creation of 200 buttons. A completed site info spreadsheet, which if you contact me and say you have a challenge idea, I will get to you. The logo and description of the sponsoring challenge or sponsoring organization, a description of the challenge for the guide, and how many sites and activities you're hoping to see people complete. So each guide says you need to do so many different challenges, whether it's complete 10 challenges across 5 counties or 10 challenges across the city for which the challenge is named. It varies from guide to guide. This is our handy dandy little state map. So you can see the challenges we have and the different counties you can visit in each of these challenges. We're not quite as spread out as I'd like, so I'm really hoping that we get some more, especially up in this area down here around Kansas City and further in the corner. So if you have some ideas for challenges, we'd always love to hear from you. And we actually have people who have completed some of these wonderful challenges. As I mentioned, when you complete the challenge, you send me selfies. And so we have had people complete our Capital City Challenge. That's this one over here. The, excuse me, the Historic Gems Challenge, also the German Heritage Challenge, the St. Louis Route 66 Challenge, and the Route 66 Across the State Challenge. I myself did some of the ones for Route 66 because I have a secret love for Ted Drew's, which I guess is not all that secret at this point. So each of these people have allowed us to share their photos over social media. So if it's something that you're not wanting us to share with people, you do have the option to let us know not to share your photos. So how do I become a Missouri Explorer? Well, it's a really simple process. You go to our website, as I mentioned, you can find it under the Engage tab, and you click on one of the registration buttons. The buttons will lead you to a JOT form where you can register. And you can register as an individual, as a group, or as a family. So whether you're a Girl Scout troop, a family of 4, a family of 2, a family of 12, or just want to do it by yourself, you have different options for signing up. After you complete the form, you're welcome to begin participating in any of the challenges, which are also listed on our website, and that is where you can go to download the guides. If you have any questions or ideas for challenges, you can contact me, and here is my contact information. So it's a really great program. It's one of my favorite things, and honestly, in the Bicentennial, it's one of the things that has just launched and taken off so quickly, and people are just dying to get out of their houses, I think, is really what it boils down to. I know I am. I'm looking forward to seeing you all as a Missouri Explorer.
Thank you so much, Morgan. And Michael, is there anything you'd like to add to it?
Just, I'm going to reiterate a couple of things. We would love to have you register. Step 1 is to register. You can do that on the website, as Morgan told you. All the guides provided are there and available to you. Go through and snap your photographs and hit all those different sites to show us. Turn your photographs, and Morgan will send you out your buttons as you get those things done. So, like I said, we hope this will be an ongoing thing throughout 2021 as our bicentennial year. So, thank you for letting us tell people about it, Beth.
Great. And Michael, at the end of the program, I'll have you maybe give us a brief update on other events happening this year. So stick around for the end of the program too for that. But I am wearing my Missouri Explorers badge. I kind of have more of a pattern shirt. I don't know if you could see it here, but I have not completed a challenge yet, I have to say. But I promise to, because I know our Den Mom here knows where to find me next. So I promise to do that. Anyway, next up on Missouri 21 Presents, we're going to hear from Stephen Foutes, Director of Missouri Tourism Division. But first, we're going to look at a very fresh new campaign and meet Mo to help you find your MO this summer.
What makes for a great vacation depends on who you ask. Are you looking to get away or bring everyone together? Do you want to get outside and play or see a play at the plate? Do you want to feed your soul or stuff your face? Fortunately, however you operate, I've got you covered. The name's Missouri, but you can call me Mo. And I have just one question. What's your MO?
Oh, there we go. That is so much fun. I just love that spot. I know seeing it gets us all thinking about a staycation right here in Missouri. But what to do and see, there's so many options. And to break it all down for us is Missouri Tourism Director Stephen Foutes. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Yeah, I love to see the commercial spots, and hopefully people are seeing those and hearing those. Really a neat way to showcase Missouri. And we do hope people find their travel MO when they come to Missouri. I want to talk to you today about a couple of things. First, just a quick look back at where we were in 2020. As many of you all are probably aware, it was a difficult time for the travel and tourism industry. It was a difficult time for all of us. The travel and tourism industry was especially hard hit on the economic side. So I want to share some information and data there. And then we'll take a look at some of the places that you might want to get out and explore this year as you find your MO in Missouri. So real quickly, again, some statistical data here. The pandemic really took hold in the middle of March and significantly had a significant impact on travel-related spending over the calendar year. Total estimated lost visitor spending was about $6.6 billion. So that just kind of speaks to the importance of the travel and visitor economy to the Show Me State. The lodging industry, as you might anticipate, was among the most hard hit. You look at that week of April 11th 2020, kind of on the left-hand side there of the slide, that was really the low water mark. It was estimated that Missouri's lodging properties, as compared to the year prior, lost about $40.5 million in revenue just in that 1 week. Over time, over the course of the calendar year there, again, mid-March through the end of the year, Missouri lodging losses totaled more than $1 billion. And to go back to that real quickly, that's money that's losses that those are losses that cannot be recovered. Yes, people can reschedule, events can postpone and be held at a later time, but for those particular times, those are losses that are not going to be recovered. Job losses, of course, were another big component as a result of the downturn in the visitor economy. In the broader hospitality, leisure and hospitality super sector, about 130,000 jobs lost by April. And then by the end of the year 2020, we still had about 20,000 jobs to recover. There are still jobs that need to be recovered in the travel and tourism industry. We were at a conference this past week with colleagues from around the state, and it is difficult to get positions filled at this time, and some of these jobs may not be coming back. Visitor volume, which is one of the key indicators we looked at, was at the lowest level in 2020 that we have on record going back to 1995. As you can see, over the last 5 or 6 years, we've been at 40+ million visitors, and to fall down into the upper 20s was a significant drop-off. Just to put some context around that, we define a visitor as anybody who travels 50 miles or more one way away from home to visit an attraction, participate in an activity, maybe go out to eat even. If they're 50 miles or more away from home, they're a visitor. So we do see a lot of our visitation is in-state. Approximately 43% of our visitors are in-state travelers. One caveat around that is, if you are closer than that 50-mile radius or within that 50-mile radius, but pay to stay the night at a lodging property or a shared vacation property like through VRBO or Airbnb, you are also considered a visitor. So that was a real quick look, and apologize for speeding through that, but that was a look back at where we were or how things were in 2020. We're really focused on the future right now, and I'll say that the future for travel looks pretty bright. As Beth, and thank you for playing that, showcased, we have a new campaign. The idea is around the concept of that's my MO. And then kind of the sub thought around that is, whatever your travel MO, modus operandi might be, there's a MO, our character MO, for all of the interests that you might be wanting to check out. So these are just a few examples of the different MO that we are employing right now. We have our main MO, our manager MO, if you will, who does a lot of the walkthrough there for the main spot, the anthem spot that Beth played. But then kind of working for our main MO, we have 5 manager MOs who represent really 5 broad topics of interest that our consumers have really identified with over the years. And that's outdoors, culture, family fun, sports, and food and drink. So just to put a little context around that, our campaign currently has about 26 different iterations of MO. And right now on your screen, you're seeing 6. So again, the manager MOs kind of work for main MO, and then each of the managers has kind of its own set of employees, if you will. So for example, outdoor MO, working for her, you might find canoe MO or fishing MO or a float trip MO, whatever the case may be. Culture MO might have employees such as music or live shows MO. And so that's kind of the idea around the campaign, is that there is a MO for every travel MO. And that's what we're trying to demonstrate through this campaign and the concept. Of course, we certainly try to drive traffic to our website, visitmo.com, which is where you find attractions, lodging, events, trip ideas, articles, links to our social media channels, and of course, you can order our printed Missouri travel guide. Our Missouri travel guide continues to be our largest print asset with about 275,000 copies. It is distributed statewide at our 5 official welcome centers and through our partners at different chambers of commerce, convention and visitors bureaus, tourism offices, and other city and county offices across the state. We do have national shipping on this. We get a lot of requests from out of state for the travel guide. And so we do our best to make sure that when people are interested in Missouri, they get a copy of that travel guide in their hands. So let's take a dive into some of the things that you might want to do over the summer. We've got what I think is going to be a really busy summer season. And of course, our outdoors assets are very popular with our state parks, especially. You can participate in a variety of activities in state parks, from our award-winning trails and some great fishing, of course, to swimming and boating. We have great lake destinations from Lake of the Ozarks here in central Missouri to Table Rock Lake and Stockton Lake in kind of southwestern Missouri, Mark Twain Lake in northeastern Missouri, and a place that I'm sure everybody's heard of, but maybe not a lot of folks have been to, Lake Pomme de Terre, down kind of in the Pittsburgh Hermitage area. To me, that's a real gem of a lake and kind of a hidden gem. There's not a lot of traffic on it, and you can really find some great fishing and have some great family fun and recreational activities there. Of course, Missouri is well known for its rivers and streams, and there's a lot of opportunities for float trips, whether you're into canoes, kayaks, or just want to relax on a tube and float down the stream. That's a great way to see Missouri and enjoy natural beauty. And of course, we have 8 national wildlife refuges. One of the most interesting to me is a Mingo National Wildlife Refuge, which is down in southeastern Missouri near Puxico, which is kind of a swampland, which you don't always associate swamps with Missouri, but there's a pretty neat piece of swampland down there at Mingo. Of course, for this group, we certainly have a lot of history in the Show Me State. That Ancient Ozarks Natural History Museum is part of the Top of the Rock complex in Ridgedale. If you haven't been there and you have an interest in American Indian culture and history, I certainly would encourage you to check that out. It is a great repository, and there's a lot to see there. Plan on spending a couple of hours for sure. As you all know, the Civil War, Missouri was a prominent state in the Civil War, and we have battlefields. Wilson's Creek down by Springfield. It's actually Republic. Sorry that's Springfield. And then the Civil War Museum in St. Louis. The National World War I Museum and Memorial in Kansas City is a great location. You've probably, if you haven't been there, you've no doubt seen pictures of the Liberty Tower that kind of dominates the skyline downtown. And then the National Veterans Memorial in Perryville is a newer addition to the family of assets in Missouri's tourism industry. That is a 2-scale replica of the Vietnam Memorial in Washington, D.C. A really great piece of history, or a great acknowledgement of the people who served our country in Vietnam. And if you don't have the means or don't want to make the trip or aren't able to make the trip to Washington, D.C., the site in Perryville will certainly fill the bill. It is really great. And we are, the Division of Tourism is part of a consortium of states that market the southeastern states in the U.S. And we're part of a group called the U.S. Civil Rights Trail. And we currently have a couple of stops on that Civil Rights Trail. Of course, the old courthouse in St. Louis, and then the Harry S. Truman Presidential Library and Museum in Independence. Truman Library is currently closed for a multi-million-dollar renovation project, and we're hopeful it will get opened back up late this spring or early in the summer. Live music, certainly a big part of Missouri's history and its culture. We have the blues are very popular at St. Louis venues. Kansas City is a great jazz city. Bluegrass shows are found in Branson. Of course, there's some festivals around the state. Many of you may know Rhonda Vincent, who is from northeastern Missouri up by Kirksville. She has helped put Missouri on the map in terms of a bluegrass destination, and we have some festivals here to acknowledge that. Some old time gospel music in Lebanon happens every year, and then the Scott Joplin Ragtime Festival happens annually in Sedalia. And one of my favorite topics, of course, food. We have all kinds of fare around the state. You can find German fare in Herman, Springfield style cashew chicken. The recipe was actually created in Springfield, Missouri. Not a lot of people know that. And then no matter how you spell it, barbecue, 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 we've got you covered in Missouri, whether you're in Kansas City or St. Louis or down in Branson. One of my personal faves down there is a little shop called Dana's Barbecue. There's certainly a lot of shops in southeastern Missouri that can fix you up too. And then if you're a fan of adult beverages, there's 33 craft distilleries in Missouri, and you can take the craft spirits tour in the Show Me State. So that's kind of a quick look at some overall catch-all things. I'll try to take a shallow, if you will, dive into some different areas of Missouri. We break the state down into 5 tourism regions. So Northwest, Northeast, Central, Southwest, and Southeast. And I'll just hit a few highlights there. Of course, you probably know about some of the stops in Kansas City, St. Joe, and Hamilton. Hamilton being home of Missouri Star Quilt Company, which is very popular. It has grown to really national fame through a series of YouTube videos created by the founders over there. And that is a big destination for Hamilton. The Missouri Star folks have a lot of properties in Hamilton, and they welcome quilters from all over the country just to buy materials, or they host retreats and have them overnight. Great experience there. And then a lot of people like the Northwest Missouri's Amish community of Jamesport to find some fresh baked goods, some handmade crafts, and things of that nature. A few other places to think about when you're traveling in Northwest Missouri. The Walt Disney Hometown Museum in Marceline is a great stop. Walt Disney lived in Marceline as a boy, and there's a lot of exhibits there that look at his time in Marceline, and then, of course, after he rose to international fame. One of my favorites, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum in Kansas City. It is co-located with the American Jazz Museum there in the 18th and Vine District. 2 great stops, and I highly recommend if you're in the area and you're into either baseball or music history, you stop by those. You don't want to miss it. Still a bucket list item for me is Leila's Hair Museum in Independence. I'm going to encourage you all to Google this place on your own, or go to visitmo.com and read about it, because I kind of think it defies description, and I'm not going to do it justice, but Google that as time allows. Glore Psychiatric Museum in St. Joe, again, one of those places that's really interesting and also a little bit creepy, especially if you do a nighttime tour or something. You might want to check that out. And then you have some outdoor properties at Chateau Milk you can get, and Green Dirt Farm in Weston, take advantage of some of the agritourism opportunities here in the Show Me State. And then the Pioneer Trails West Adventures is a wagon ride around Independence. And some of my staff just did that last week as we were in Independence for a conference and had a really good time. Northeast Missouri, you can look to the right there and see just a lot of the major attractions that are listed in St. Louis. St. Charles, of course, is the Lewis and Clark Boathouse and Museum. Hannibal, Mark Twain's hometown, a lot of attractions there associated with him. And then again, Herman, if you enjoy wines and learning about German history and culture and just being out in smaller communities and a lot of beautiful scenery, Herman is a great stop for you. A few more things to dive into. Merrimack Caverns in Stanton has long been one of Missouri's premier show caves. If you haven't been there, I highly recommend that. That's located off Route 66, and it's long been a favorite of travelers. And then Molly Brown's birthplace, also up in Hannibal, another great place to learn about a little bit different time in history. Molly Brown, of course, rose to fame after the sinking of the Titanic, which she survived, and her birthplace is in Hannibal, Missouri, and they have some interpretation of her life at that home. Here in Jefferson City, we've got the state capitol and the museum and the governor's mansion. Just up the road, about 30 minutes, the National Churchill Museum, which is a great location, and it's located in a historic church that was moved from London to Fulton in the 1960s. A really neat piece of history there. Again, outdoors enthusiasts might like Rockbridge State Park or Ha Ha Tonka State Park down at the lake. Of course, if you like water and you got kiddos, Big Surf Water Park is a can't miss. And then for live shows in a really small and unique environment, the Lyceum Theater over in Arrow Rock is a great destination. Katy Trail State Park's a great place to go for a bike ride or go for a jog or just a nice stroll. It's a flat surface, 240 miles across Missouri from the St. Charles area over by Windsor. Warm Springs Ranch, another great place that has affiliations with the Budweiser Clydesdales are raised there, and you can do tours there and learn about their operations. If you're over 21, you can also do some sampling. Missouri State Penitentiary tours here in Jeff City is a big attraction. And then some more opportunities to connect with military history at Fort Leonard Wood and the Missouri Military Museum of Missouri Military History here in Jefferson City. No trip to Springfield is complete without stopping by Bass Pro Shops, of course. That is an incredible store, and I know we've got outlets around the state, but that stop in Springfield is a sight to behold. Fantastic caverns and Small and Civil War Cave, two great underground options. And it's cold when it's cold outside, it's warm in those caves, and when it's hot outside, they're a great place to cool off and refresh on a July day in Missouri. Silver Dollar City, of course, and the Titanic attraction in Branson have long been popular with visitors. And then Grand Falls in Joplin is the largest constant waterfall in Missouri. I believe there's about 25 feet, I believe it falls. So a really neat piece of outdoors there. And then the Precious Moments Chapel and 66 Drive-In. We saw that drive-in movies rose in popularity during the pandemic, and I think that that's really going to continue. People enjoyed that experience. It was something new, and so really looking forward to. I'd like to get down there myself this year and catch a movie. Hopefully, some of the big blockbusters that are coming out will be at the drive-ins this year. Again, places to connect with nature outside Branson at Top of the Rock, or with our history and culture at the Laura Ingalls Wilder home in Mansfield. Springfield has the Wonders of Wildlife, which if you haven't been through that, I highly recommend taking time to do that. Again, that's one you need to plan for if you do both sides of the attraction, 2 to 4 hours. And then the George Washington Carver National Monument, not a lot of people know about that location down in Diamond in extreme southwest Missouri, but George Washington Carver spent part of his youth in the Show Me State. And then we'll close out here with some spots in southern Missouri. The Crisp Museum in Cape Girardeau is a great repository of American Indian history and culture, and Cape also has a great conservation nature center, which is managed by the Department of Conservation. Great outdoors, Pickle Springs Natural Area in St. Genevieve. And St. Genevieve has a lot of colonial architecture. They've got homes there dating to the late 1700s, wineries and breweries around St. James. And then, of course, float trips and outdoor fun abound in the Eminence area, which is home to Echo Bluff State Park. If you're a foodie and you're in the Kimmswick area, you can't miss the Levy High apple pie, which is shown there on the right side of your screen. I got one of those for the family one time, and it literally is like 12 or 14 inches tall. If memory serves, it's 19 or 20 apples go into each pie. It's unbelievable. You really have to see it to believe it. And I think that one in particular on the screen is the one that is covered in caramel and pecans. It's unbelievable. Elephant Rock State Park, took the kids there last summer. We needed to get out of the house, and I'm sure a lot of you can appreciate that. And the kids had a blast down there. You can spend all day climbing around the rocks at Elephant Rocks just down the road. Tomsauk Mountains right there, just down the road, Johnson Shut-ins. And Ironton just opened a new outdoors mountain biking track that they had their first race, I believe, this past weekend. Our photographer was there Friday and said it was just unbelievable. Cars from California, Utah, New Jersey, all over the country came to Ironton, Missouri to ride mountain bikes. Pretty cool. And then again, some Route 66 attractions, the Wagon Wheel Motel in Cuba and the giant rocking chair outside of Cuba near Fanning. If you've never seen this rocking chair in person, drive by there. And if you don't laugh when you see it, let me know. I'll buy you a candy bar because I think it's one of the funniest things you'll ever see. And finally, speaking of road trips, we have some great places around the state to do road trips. Again, Route 66 kind of running east to west from St. Louis down by Joplin. A lot of great attractions in there. I know that Morgan indicated she's a Ted Drewes fan, and I'm right there with you on that one, Morgan. Then Highway 36 up in northeast and northwest Missouri, the Way of American Genius, has connections to some really great innovators and innovations from Mark Twain and Dr. Still, who, if you're not familiar, is considered the father of osteopathic medicine, to General Pershing, and then sliced bread over in Chillicothe and the Pony Express, created and first run out of St. Joe. So a lot of great places to have a road trip in the Show Me State. Take the family along. Both of those trips are, things that can be done in a day or a couple of days, depending on how often you stop, and a great way to spread out and enjoy what Missouri has to offer. And I think that's it for me. I'm sorry I probably went over my time a little bit, but Beth, I'll hand it back to you.
No, that's great, Stephen. It's hard to condense it all in a short amount of time. I know one of the popular roadside attractions you see along Route 40, Highway 44 or Interstate 44 between Rolla and Springfield is the town of Uranus, and I'll just kind of leave it at that. But there's a really fun sign if you want to get your picture in front of it. And also mention that the Roots and Blues Festival is going to be back this year. It's also another popular outdoor festival in Columbia, and they announced their lineup. And I just thought I would just mention that here because it is very powerful. It's Brandy Carlisle, Sheryl Crow, Missouri Sheryl Crow, that is, Mavis Staples, Tanya Tucker. It just goes on and on. So that's happening September 24th, 27th. They had to take off last year because of COVID, but they're going to be back very strong with some wonderful women musicians that are headlining it. So anyway, but thank you so much, Stephen. Really do appreciate that. Downtowns are the heart and soul of a community and offer residents and visitors a place to connect and experience the unique towns and cities in our state. So next on the program, we welcome Diane, Hannah, and Janie Dennison, who work for Missouri Main Street Connection based in Branson. This year, their organizations put together an exciting program for the Bicentennial called the Missouri Main Street Bicentennial Passport. Diane and Janie, tell us about your organization, what you do, and what is the Missouri Main Street Bicentennial Passport?
Well, good morning. I'm Janie Dennison. I'm the communication and branding specialist for Missouri Main Street. I'm originally from Lee Summit, Missouri, so big Chiefs fan. I came to Branson about 15 years ago with my family and just love it here. I have a master's degree in counseling and work at Silver Dollar City part-time. So Stephen, I'm right there with you at Silver Dollar City. Diane?
I'm Diane Hanna. I am the program assistant at Missouri Main Street Connection. We call it MMSC for short. I have been in Main Street work for about 30 years now. I was a local Main Street director for about 11 years, and I have now been with MMSC for about 5 years. So we have a good team and we accomplish a lot. And so I want to tell you a little bit about what we do. Main Street is a philosophical and physical approach to downtown revitalization based on economic development within the context of historic preservation. Main Street is a proven method for community development. Currently, there are nearly 1,600 designated Main Street communities in America. Missouri Main Street Connection is a nonprofit organization and is the coordinating program in Missouri for Main Street America, which is the national program. Main Street is a grassroots effort developed and sustained by local volunteers with guidance by MMSC. MMSC is currently planning our annual Downtown Revitalization Conference. It will be virtual this year on July 28th through 30th. Anyone can attend, and it can help you learn more about Main Street and how we can help your community. This year's theme is Celebrating New Beginnings, People, Preservation, Places. You can learn more by going to our conference website at getpluggedindowntown.com. MMSC has served more than 195 communities who have requested downtown revitalization services. MMSC provides training, support, and technical assistance for those organizations to make an impact in their communities. As a nonprofit, MMSC offers its services to all Missouri communities.
So happy 200th birthday, Missouri. We're really excited. We came up with this Bicentennial Passport as a way to introduce Missouri residents and visitors to events, museums, and activities in our downtown districts and neighborhoods while celebrating the bicentennial. Its purpose is to encourage and stimulate tourism in our Missouri Main Street communities. Each Main Street community was asked to send details about events in their community celebrating the Missouri Bicentennial during 2021. We started the process in May of 2020 by talking to our executive directors of the local Main Street programs to prepare a plan for the event. Communities without a director were also contacted. The idea of the passport came up because we normally create a brochure full of events for Preservation Month, which is in May, but it decided this year to extend it through 2021 to celebrate the bicentennial. We worked in conjunction with Missouri2021.org to distribute information about the passport. We requested that all of our communities register with Missouri2021.org in order to have one central place to consult if there were any changes that needed to be made. Their calendar is wonderful. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check it out. We solicited sponsors to help with the cost of printing and distribution of the passport. Our MMSC outreach committee, comprised of our board members, made the contacts and raised the money to support the passport. All community entries were free of charge. So we've had over 30,000 passports that have been distributed since February through Missouri Life magazine, Missouri travel offices, and local Main Street offices. We do have more to distribute through the summer and fall seasons.
So this is a sample of the slide shows a sample of actual pages out of the passport. The events in the passport began early in 2021. So some of the events have already passed, but there are several that are a longer period of time and later in the year. There are 51 events in 33 communities in the passport for you to explore. Some of the events listed: Chillicothe has What Were You?, an exhibit at the museum there about life in 1821, 1921, and 2021. It runs through December 31st, so you have time to explore that this summer. The University of Central Missouri is celebrating their 150th anniversary with several special exhibits during 2021. Also in Chillicothe at the museum, they have the Underground Railroad exhibit running through December 31st. Kearney Historic Museum has a display representing daily life in Kearney when Missouri was celebrating her 100th birthday. That runs through August 31st and is on Fridays and Saturdays. Show Me Lee Summit, a celebration of the Missouri Bicentennial, runs through May 31st at the Lee Summit City Hall. Missouri Bicentennial Travel Exhibit, Struggle for Statehood, is currently in Excelsior Springs until May 14th, but check the Missouri 2021 website to see where it will be next. Mo Art Now, a bicentennial celebration exhibit in Joplin, runs May 29th through July 17th. Independence Day celebrations will be in Carthage, Albany, and Parkville, and there's plenty more, of course, for 4th of July celebrations. And there are more celebrations listed in the passport that we want you to visit and check out from your passport.
So passports can be stamped at each event that you attend. All events were sent a rubber stamper to stamp those passports. Those with 21 or more stamps will be eligible for a drawing of some great prizes. We have some of them listed right here. Private tour of the Governor's Mansion. We have Missouri-made items, gift baskets from St. Louis, Kansas City, some Tin Pan cinnamon rolls. And then this is an image that's going to be given. It's a framed print by Gary Lucy, and the original painting is on display right now at the Missouri Governor's Mansion. You can download the passport at momainstreet.org/bicentennial. You can pick one up at a Missouri Travel Center or a local Main Street office, or by calling us at 417-334-3014, or just go to our website, momainstreet.org. If you want to submit for a prize, those are due by December 31st to our office. And the information is in the back of the passport as well. And then the winners will be chosen January 2022. We have had several requests for the passport for larger mailings, such as organizations, conference goodie bags. So we're always happy to send those out as well.
And of course, we mentioned our sponsors earlier. These are the sponsors that helped us create the passport and made it possible. So we always appreciate it if you can support them. And we want to give them a shout out because without them, we couldn't have made this project happen. And that's pretty much our presentation. Is there any questions? I think Beth is going to handle the questions.
Yes, well, wonderful presentation, Diane, Janie, very exciting and to see the prizes offered. Having toured the governor's mansion, that's a real treat to have a tour of there and everything else that you have going on. So a lot of great prizes. But now is the time for us to hear from our audience. If you have any questions for our panelists, please type it in the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. So if there's any questions, please let us know. But I'll start things off with, I know our audience here is really engaged with Missouri history. Can each of you offer some of the places that are relevant to learning more about Missouri history that our audience should check out this summer? And Mike, I'm going to put you on the spot because you know.
Sure. I'm going to mention our good friends over the Missouri State Museum who have done 2 new exhibits for the Bicentennial. One is a Missouri timeline, of course, covering Missouri history well past it's just these 200 years, but history before that. They've also put together a wonderful exhibit about Missouri trailblazers. So again, some of these people we already talked about with Highway 36, right? These folks who were here from Missouri, were cultivated here in Missouri, but had national and international significance. So I highly recommend. They have done really a wonderful job with both exhibits. So there's my 2 cents.
Well, I might just mention, because several of the events that I talked about were at museums, and there's a number of historic displays and exhibits in the passport. So they need to get their passport and check it out.
If you're looking for historical significance all across the state, most of the Missouri Explorers Guides have some museum or historical society or some site of historical significance for that particular guide. So you can, even if you don't want to do an entire challenge, just downloading those guides gives you a great idea of good places to go across the state.
You'd have to check to see if it's open, but a place that I think is fascinating and is one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen, quite honestly, is the Cathedral Basilica in St. Louis. If you've never been there, it is absolutely astounding. And I apologize, I don't know off the top of my head if they are allowing regular non-church going visitors at this time outside of mass or other events. But that that place is unbelievable. The architecture is unbelievable. The craftsmanship of the glasswork is outstanding, and I couldn't encourage people to visit there enough.
I agree. The mosaic is just beautiful there. Sure is. Yeah, Janie, do you have a place in mind?
I don't have a specific place. I know Stephen talked about Top of the Rock, the Native American Museum, and that's probably my favorite place here that I've visited.
And I'll just throw this out there. I really enjoy Arrow Rock for many reasons, but there's also a small museum put on by Friends of Arrow Rock and Missouri Press Association, which has the old time press equipment in there, which is really worth seeing. So if there's any questions, again, you just can ask the question there in the chat section. I know we talked a little bit about COVID and how that has affected different places and anything the state's been offering in terms of guidance.
So normally the guidance that our destinations and attractions are following is that local level guidance from their county health departments. What we are seeing kind of in national trending is visitors want to know what a destination or attraction is doing or has implemented to keep them safe, whether that is cleaning protocols at a hotel or things like timed ticket entries at different attractions to minimize, gathering at ticket booths or, clustering of tour groups. So I would encourage, anybody who is going to travel, I really would encourage you to, even if it's a place you've been before, to really call ahead or check their websites ahead of time, because different places are at different operational capacities based on their local health orders. And so I really would encourage everybody to just do a little bit of extra research, call ahead, check websites ahead, whatever it may be, so you are familiar with what's happening where you're going to be.
Great. We do have a question from Linda, who is asking, what are some special cemeteries? And I wish we had Danielle on our staff, because she has put together an Explorers Challenge on Missouri cemeteries. But Stephen, I know you were, shaking your head as well. Anybody would like to talk about that?
Yeah, I was going to say, Beth, what I'll do is I will put a link to that guide in the chat box. Yeah, Danielle did a wonderful job of assembling those historic cemeteries, and they're really all over the state, and they are just such treasures.
And certainly, I think a lot of people are familiar with the Calvary and Bellefontaine cemeteries in St. Louis, that have a lot of Civil War history and people whose names are fairly well known. Are there. National Cemetery here in Jefferson City is another one. So Janie, I think, had some commentary on that.
Well, we have an event tomorrow that Missouri Main Street partnered with the State Historic Preservation Office, and it's at Jewel Cemetery tomorrow for a cleanup workshop workday. So.
Absolutely. A lot of cemeteries are taking that on. They're doing walking tours. We have those listed on our Missouri 21 website, because there's quite a few that are taking advantage of the bicentennial year and offering those walking tours in the cemetery. I know there's been some that has taken some of the different graves of prominent people in the community and kind of have actors come and bring that alive a little bit about their stories. So that's also very, very interesting to watch. So to come and visit. So yeah, any other questions on our panel? Let's see, to our panelists. Well, we will have one that likes my background. So yeah, like the banner. Thank you for that. Let's see if there's anything else on there.
Beth, I answered it in the commentary. Somebody had asked about ordering a travel guide. You can go to visitmo.com, and at the upper right corner of the page, there's a link for Get Your Guide. You can order one to be shipped to you through the mail there. There's also an opportunity to view a digital copy right there on your screen at home. So either one of those options is available for folks. You can also call our office here, and we can get you one in the mail too.
Excellent, excellent. Well, wonderful. Well, before we do end our program today, we do want to close out with a couple of prize giveaways. But first, I wanted to hear from Michael if he has any updates he'd like to tell us about some events coming up.
Certainly. I think, Beth, many of you probably already know, the Missouri Bicentennial Commission is organizing 4 events on and around Statehood Day, which is August 10th, Tuesday, coming up really soon. Missouri State Parks is going to be holding an event Saturday, August 7th at First Missouri State Capitol. There'll be a fun day of historic demonstrations and opportunity to see, again, sort of the site of our first state capitol. There'll be a parade and a few other things, and they will be having more information about that soon. State Historical Society of Missouri and the University of Missouri are putting together the Together for 21 Fest in Columbia. That'll be the weekend of the 6th, 7th, and 8th. That will include certainly performances and folk art demonstrations and lectures and talks and exhibits and almost a lot of things under the sun. We hope to have a full schedule for that available July 1st, but there'll be more and more information about it coming out. Tuesday, August 10th is Statehood Day. And Jeff City will be kind of the site of the major events. There'll be a formal ceremony. A naturalization ceremony will be taking place that day. There will be a reveal of the Missouri Bicentennial stamp from the United States Postal Service. But also on that day will be the ice cream socials happening across the state. If you're not familiar with this program, you'll find more about it on the website under the Engage tab. We are looking to get as many ice cream socials going on across the state as possible on Tuesday, August 10th in the afternoon. Right now, we have 36 registered events in 30 different counties. I'm looking to get one for every county. But in Jeff City, the governor, Central Dairy is doing the event there, and the governor will have the first ceremonial scoop, but we hope people will take pictures and share their events that day. And finally, Missouri State Fair, August 12th through the 22nd, is always a showcase for Missouri, but this year will be themed to the Bicentennial. So those are the four that the commission is overseeing. A number of other major events happening in July and August in Kansas City, St. Louis, Cape Girardeau, St. Joe, Joplin, Hannibal, and you can learn more about these on the website too. It's really time to start thinking about how we want to use that, things you can see in July and August, and more information will be coming out about that, which you'll find on the website. You'll find it on our news releases, our email newsletter. So lots coming down the pipe.
Well, first of all, we do send out a newsletter every 2 weeks on Friday. So if you're not getting that, you can sign up when you go to our main page, Missouri 21, and just enter your email address. And that way you'll know kind of what's ahead. We do have something coming up. We're launching the Missouri on Mic program, which we're doing with KBI Radio. And that's where we're recording oral histories, kind of getting a snapshot of how people are doing during this bicentennial. Something I think down the road, future researchers, students, journalists, scholars will want to know, what do we think about this bicentennial? What is our life like? So there will be an opportunity to go in, safely record your story with a series of prompts that journalism students at Missouri School of Journalism are putting together. And we're launching that at the True and False Film Festival this weekend on Saturday and Sunday. You can come down to the free space. You don't need a ticket, and it's from noon to 6 on both days. And then we're going to be in some other locales as well through the summer. So you can look at our website for more information on where we'll be taking Missouri on Mic. So this morning, we did have a drawing among the 209 folks who registered for today's program. The name on our computer that you randomly drew is Davis Connett. So congratulations. And I'm going to notify Davis by email this afternoon to get your mailing address to send you some of our bicentennial swag. Finally, we have a question that we're going to give our audience a chance to win. Thanks for being here so late. So we are going to ask a question, and the first person who submits the right answer will be our winner. Be sure to type your question in the Q&A box, not the chat box, but in the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen as soon as you get it. So let me go ahead and share the screen. So our question is, Missouri has 7 national parks within its border. Which is the newest? St. Genevieve National Historic Park joined the National Park System in October of 2020, well before Statehood Day in 1750. And St. Genevieve became the first permanent European settlement in Missouri. Several homes from these early French colonists still survive, and you can explore this historic community located 60 miles south of St. Louis. And you may wonder, what are the other 6 national parks in Missouri? Well, they are the Gateway Arch in St. Louis, George Washington Carver National Monument in Diamond, Harry S. Truman Historic Site in Independence, Ulysses S. Grant National Historic Site in St. Louis, Ozark National Scenic Riverways in southern Missouri, and Wilson's Creek National Battlefield in Republic. So thank you all to our panelists and for all of you for joining us this morning, and safe travels as you find your MO in Missouri this summer. As we mentioned earlier, the Bicentennial offers us a way to get to know our state better, and you're often less than a gas tank away to learn something new about the Show Me State. So next month on Missouri 2021 Presents, we will take in the musical offerings that are happening for the Bicentennial. From original music, compositions, and performances and shows, we're going to tell you more on June 6th at 11 a.m. We will have registration open by the end of this week. And as always, you can sign up at Missouri21.org, which will direct you to the online registration page for programming at the State Historical Society of Missouri. The series is taped and recordings are uploaded on our website. We look forward to being with you again June 6th for Missouri 2021 Presents. Here's wishing each of you a safe and happy trails, and may the 4th be with you.